Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. George is joining me for the intro of this video because I realise he is more popular than I am. So subscribe for George. I'm kidding. It's actually just me and him today. So yeah, it's been a little bit hard to film this without him because the second I leave him, he barks. I know I need to work on that. Okay, this video, oh my gosh, this is my very first Burns Night celebration video. Now, Robert Burns was a very famous Scottish poet. So yes, I could have done bookmarks. I could have looked, oh, excuse me, are we keeping you up? I could have looked at his poems. I could have done some beautiful quotes from his poems, created bookmarks, or done something very book orientated, but instead I'm doing Highland Cows. Highland Cows, and I'm going to blame Moray and Lothian Woodworks for that because I was looking at the Celtic symbols, you know, some of these beautiful Scottish and Irish Celtic symbols, but they all kind of merged. I didn't really know which ones were Scottish and which ones were Irish. So Moray said, just do Highland Cows. So here we are doing Highland Cows. We are doing Highland Cow Jesmonite coasters in celebration of Burns Night. I cannot wait for our haggis tonight. You are not getting any, mister. And yeah, so again, he's more popular than I am. So subscribe for George. And George says, get mummy to 100k, don't you? Yeah, okay. I hope you enjoy. Let's go. So I knew I wanted to make coasters and I am using my absolute go-to coaster mold. This is the round coaster mold by Molds and Shapes. Of course, I am an ambassador for Molds and Shapes, so your 5% discount is in the description box if you are interested. They are a chunky 10 centimeters across and they pretty much work with all of my mugs, and I've got some pretty big chunky mugs and they are a perfect coaster size. The colours I'm using are by Homeware Design Company. Now these are stunning pigments. They are custom blended for Jesmonite, plaster, eco resins and cement, and these were sent to me by Homeware Design Company with no obligation to do a video. Of course, they knew I'd fall in love with them, and I'm pretty much going to be using these for the foreseeable future. So my two favourite colours are the Zen Green and the, well, my favourites are the Zen Green, the boho range. They do different ranges and it's the boho range that I love. I'm pretty much out of Zen Green. I think I've got like 2 splashes left and I know I'm going to get some more, so I'm going to get on and order those. I'm going for kind of earthy tones that remind me of the Scottish Highlands, and for that reason I am using the chocolate brown and the Zen Green to give me 2 completely different coasters. Now, right off the bat, the chocolate brown did look purple in my eyes. In reality, it looked really purple, but on camera, I can kind of see that it is more brown than purple, but honestly, I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh, I'm going to need to add something to this. But the weirdest thing is, once I added the powder in, it's only here that I started mixing, and it kind of changed in front of my eyes to this brown, muddy, earthy tone. And yet, yeah, when I look again, it looks purple. When I look back now, it looks brown. But what I did decide to do was make it a little bit more brown by adding in some of the cinnamon. I think it was cinnamon I added, just to give it more of a chocolatey brown colour. And then I knew this is exactly the colour I want, and I was happy. Now, you may have noticed there that I did actually pour my powder through a sieve. This was a recommendation that one of you guys gave me recently, and it truly does change the game. The clumps are gone because I have sieved the powder, and yeah, it makes such a world of difference. I cannot tell you. And yeah, here you see me adding a little bit more pigment. So I wasn't quite done. I clearly wasn't quite done. Voiceover Claire is getting ahead of herself here. But yes, now I was done. This reminds me of a really rich kind of, I want to say Scottish Highlands woodland, but also truffle, chocolate truffle. It reminds me of the most beautiful chocolate colour. So I was really, really happy. And then it was time to pour. Now you will notice my mould is on some paper. The reason for this is that the molds by Molds and Shapes, they are of course silicone, and it's a beautiful squishy silicone, which means it does like to cling to your surface, making it a lot more hard to shimmy and shake all of the air bubbles out of your Jesmonite. So one recommendation I can give you is to get your molds onto some paper or a slippery surface if you are using Jesmonite. This will allow free movement and you can slide it back and forth, shimmy, shake, and do all of the things without risking the mold sticking to the surface. Hoping that makes sense. All you have to do then is tap until all the bubbles are gone, and I actually use a lollipop stick to brush over the surfaces of these just to get rid of any of the air bubbles. You can also blow through a straw, but actually I prefer using a stick now. Now this is the Zen Green. This is my absolute favorite color out of the entire range from Homeware Design Co, and I'm out of it. This was the last drop out of the bottle, so I was a bit devastated. And it was at this point when I was mixing it in thinking, ooh, this marble is beautiful. This is a decision that's really hard, guys, when you're mixing and you think, do I keep this? Do I keep the marble, or do I keep stirring to get a solid block color? And I decided to stop stirring and keep a marble form of some kind. And I'm so happy I did, because oh my goodness me, they are stunning, absolutely stunning. So again, tying in with the brown earthy tone from the Scottish Highlands, the mountains, the trees, the pines, all of that, in with the green marble, which gives me forest, woodland vibes. I just felt like it would absolutely work. And then I knew it was going to work because the vinyl I am using is super shiny gold vinyl, and I knew the two together is gonna scream Scotland. So here we are on the Cricut design space, and I was looking for Highland Cow, and like I said at the beginning, it was Moray who said do a Highland Cow. Moray Lothian Woodworks, you would have heard me mention him 1,000 times. He actually sent me an SVG file. He said, I've got a file, I'll send it to you, and it is a beautiful Highland Cow. He's already used this in some of his designs, making wooden coasters and wooden die cuts and things like that. For me, for what I needed, I've already told Moray, God, I appreciate you so much, but I couldn't use it. It was too heavy for me. I felt like the outlines were really super heavy, and for what I wanted this kind of really delicate outline. So I did decide to stick to a Highland Cow that I found on the Cricut design space, because the lines are a lot thinner, if that makes sense. You can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Now, I generally don't put footage of me weeding, because we all know it's not my favorite thing to do. I feel like people that don't like weeding, we need our own club. Now, the advice I get every time I say that, the advice is incredible. You guys have always given me advice on weeding. It doesn't make me love it anymore. I've tried to fall in love and become obsessed with weeding. It's definitely one thing I can say right now with my hand on my heart. It's not something I will ever be obsessed about. It's just not my favorite thing to do. So there you saw me. I've got the mold on some paper. This is going to let me easily slide it off my desk to flip it upside down. We are going to demold upside down. That is because Jesmonite, after 30 minutes, we can demold, but it's very weak at this point. It is the weakest point at this point. Can I say point anymore? So flipping your mold upside down and demolding backwards is better for the Jesmonite. It's going to put a lot less strain on your items. This will work with alphabet letters, lettering in general, coasters, trays, anything. Flip it upside down, demold upside down. Look at this marble. I love it. It is screaming forest. The brown is the brown. They look like chocolate slabs, and they look like I could demolish one right now, but they're not. So this is my plan. We are going to let these cool overnight. All of the moisture needs to come out before I stick that vinyl decal on, and I've just placed it on my desk on one of my cake baking airing trays. I don't bake cakes. I've bought these specifically for Jesmonite. And then it's time to transfer all of my vinyl decals onto the coasters. Now, I don't know why I didn't film the sealing process in this video. However, you can seal these. I know that will be a question I get because I didn't show it. I don't know why I didn't press record. I usually do, but I have many videos on my channel showing you how to seal Jesmonite. You can seal straight over the top of the vinyl with no detrimental effect to the vinyl. It will give a nice seal to the Jesmonite and make them completely heat proof. I made a tea tray where I actually put vinyl on the Jesmonite, then I sealed the Jesmonite, and then I did a heat test using 2 mugs of super hot, straight from the kettle, boiling water, and there was absolutely no detrimental effect to the vinyl or the Jesmonite. So yes, go ahead and seal these in your sealer of choice. I will be using the acrylic sealer by Jesmonite because I already know that that is heat proof. I haven't yet tested all of the other sealers that I've got, so definitely check out your sealers and check out if they are heat proof. I haven't run a test yet, so I will be using my Jesmonite acrylic sealer because I know it works, and you can apply it with a sponge or a brush, whichever one works best for you. And I love these so much. They are so cute. I absolutely love this vinyl decal, the actual image, the SVG from Cricut. I love it. And this one really just stood out to me. It reminds me of Stephen Brown's work. If any of you do not know, oh my gosh. Sorry, George has just jumped on me and decided he wants a cuddle. So yes, Stephen Brown is an artist and he paints the most beautiful, brightly coloured rainbow art Highland Cows. I would love one of his paintings on my wall. But yes, this particular SVG file reminded me of his work, and yeah, I absolutely adore it. So here they are, all done. Like I said, you can seal them in any way you want. Of course, they could have a resin top coat as well if you wanted, but remember, if you want it to be hot, you need a heat-proof resin. The next and final step for me is to use self-adhesive cork backing. There are multitude of ways you can do this. You can buy self-adhesive cork little dots, or you can buy self-adhesive cork rounds. You can actually buy them in a circle ready to go on the bottom of your circle coasters. Now, I don't have that, I have cork sheet. So this is what we are using because this is all I have. Again, there's different ways of doing this. You can draw around your coaster like I showed you there with the pen. You can draw around it and cut out your circle and then stick your circle on the back, or you can do it this way where I stick my coaster down on to the self-adhesive cork and I cut around the coaster. There's pros and cons to both, okay? If you draw around your coaster, you're going to get a much neater finish because you've got a circle to cut out, a nice neat circle. But for me, the con is then trying to get it on the back of the coaster perfectly. I struggle with that. I really struggle with that. I sometimes just peel off a little bit of paper, stick it down, and then slowly peel the paper back. But I don't know what it is. I always have some hanging over the edge where I haven't quite made it central. So this way for me makes sure that I get a complete and utter coverage on every millimeter of coaster. And yeah, it's not as neat, but it's also handmade with love and not perfection, remember. So yeah, that's just what I'm showing you. So like I said, there's a multitude of ways you can do this. I may see if I can get some 10 centimeter round cork self-adhesive bases because these coasters are 10 centimeters. And if I can get 10 centimeters, then perfect. I don't have to worry anymore. The final step is to stamp my logo. Now I am using Stays On ink. That is the most perfect ink for cork, and that was a recommendation that came over from you guys because I tried 3 different inks and they literally stayed wet for days, and I was like, what are you guys using? And so many of you recommended the Stays On ink. Now my stamp was made for me. I purchased it, not sponsored. Moray, I feel like Moray is getting a lot of shout outs in this video, which is okay, right? Because he's amazing and this is a celebration of Scotland and Robert Burns, so why not celebrate another Scottish artist? He made all of my logo stamps. I have this round one that just says Claire's Crafted Corner, and I also have 2 rectangular ones, one with all my social logos and one without. So I will put Moray's details down below if you are looking for any homemade, what am I looking for? Small business handmade logo stamps, then he's your man. I will pop him in the description. But I'm loving them. I'm loving them. Let me know what you think. Happy Burns Night. If you celebrate Burns Night, happy Burns Night. We do celebrate with our haggis and our tatties, but probably not the neeps because I don't have time. I don't have the patience for a turnip or a swede. I don't have the energy to even cut through those vegetables. They are the toughest vegetables on the planet. So yeah, enjoy whatever it is you are doing tonight. Have a lovely evening, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you feel inspired, and I will see you all in the next video, which will be Saturday, which will be my very first Valentine's 2023 video. And keep your eyes open and your ears peeled. Is that what I said in the last video? Yeah, keep your eyes open. I will be announcing the Valentine's Day crafty collaboration in Saturday's video. So stay tuned, and I will see you all then. Bye.